Mirror's Edge was one of my favorite new franchises when it came out back in 2008, and I don't feel it ever got the popularity that it deserved. Now here we are, 8 years later, and we're finally getting a sequel. Kind of. This game isn't a sequel or a prequel, it's a complete reboot of the story. By the time you beat the game, if you sit there and try to fit the pieces together to fit the first game, it's just not going to make any sense. It's definitely a new beginning for the franchise, and I'm hoping we get more of this world. In Mirror's Edge, you play as Faith, a young woman that starts off finishing a jail sentence, and she's getting ready to be released.
Work is rewarded.
Maybe you'd like another 3 months.
Laziness punished.
It would be so easy.
Personal freedom comes at a
Come
price.
on, let's go.
The game doesn't really explain in any kind of great detail why she was in prison to begin with, but the Mirror's Edge Exordium 6-issue miniseries from Dark Horse Comics explains this. I'll put a link down below to Amazon where you can actually get the whole thing pretty cheap. It's not really essential to be able to understand the story going on in Mirror's Edge Catalyst, but it's always nice having more backstory. Faith lives in a city called Glass, and the name reflects the actual city. Everything's reflective, clean, futuristic looking. Sometimes I found myself just staring at the city from high up. The last time I found myself staring at the environment in the game because it looks so good was in Uncharted 4. And this game looks amazing. There's really no other game out there that matches the look of this game. It's very distinct. And the city of Glass belongs to a world ruled by the Conglomerate. And the Conglomerate's a group of corporations that are oppressive and want the entire world playing by the same rules.
All the major corporations operate here, and so there should be ample opportunity for you to find new employment and lead a happy and productive life. Don't loiter. You have been given a rare second chance. Make sure not to squander it.
Faith belongs to a group of people called Runners. And in this world of corporations fighting each other secretly, runners are hired to deliver packages and such by running across rooftops and doing all kinds of fancy parkour moves that would put an assassin from Assassin's Creed to shame. And I really liked Faith as a character. In the first game, they didn't really give her too much of a personality, but that's all changed here. She's a strong female character that prefers doing things on her own. And I feel like we don't get enough of these in video games, so it's definitely a nice change of pace.
Everyone around you dies, Faith! Did it ever occur to you that maybe you're the one to blame?
And soon enough, of course, she gets thrust into a conflict between the ruling government and the rebels called Black November.
Their lofty towers will not protect them.
This is your doing. The only language you and your kind speaks is destruction.
And some of the main characters you'll meet include Noah, who's the leader of this group of runners, and he's a father figure to Faith, who he rescued as a child, and he raised her like a daughter ever since, and she looks up to him.
Come on, I'll take you out of here.
Plastic is Faith's friend that happens to be a hacking expert, and I absolutely loved her quirky personality. She's one of those characters that understand technology more than she likes people. So she almost talks like a computer, and she uses all kind of techno-babble that other characters have to constantly ask her to explain. Her back and forth conversations with Faith were pretty entertaining to hear.
Yeah, I found it.
Not a question. Shut up, Kuma. Ooh, I bet they want it back.
Yeah, well,
Not a question.
And you've got Icarus, otherwise known as Green Arrow from CW Smallville. He looks kind of stupid, but he's another cocky runner that accompanies Faith on some missions, and he almost becomes like a sidekick to her in this game.
Never thought I'd say this, but you sure are a sight for sore eyes, Faith.
What happened here?
Don't ask.
And Gabriel Kruger is the main villain in the game, and he's the head of the KSEC Corporation, which is the main threat Faith faces throughout the game. This is the corporation that runs the military police force of the city, and they're all over the city, so anytime you see them, you can either choose to keep running and avoid being spotted, or you can jump in and fight them. I personally enjoyed getting in the middle of things and kicking their asses.
Whoa. Plastic! I need those doors open! Now! There's KSEC everywhere!
And with a last name like Kruger, of course he's a villain. And I find it hilarious that he looks exactly like the CEO of EA. There is no way this was a coincidence. Somebody during development thought of this idea on purpose and thought it would be hilarious. I mean, in real life, the guy does look like a villain, so why not put his image in the game? As far as the gameplay goes, you have the entire city as your playground, and it's huge. Whereas the first game was very linear and it broke into levels, this one's fully open world, and you could lose yourself exploring it as you please. You can do main missions that progress the story, side missions, there's races, and all kinds of other activities that'll keep you busy for hours without becoming too overwhelming. A lot of these open world games, Far Cry is a good example, while being a great game, once you look at the map, you're so overwhelmed with all the stuff there is to do, all the collectibles, which this game does have a lot of those same things, but not to the point where it's overwhelming. And I really enjoyed doing the delivery missions. Runners are supposed to be rooftop couriers, basically, that deliver messages as fast as possible. And this game represents that choice of profession clearly. So you do get these missions that have a time limit, and they require you to really learn how to move around the city to get the package to the client in time. The controls do take a bit of getting used to, because you really do have to learn how to sync your mind, hands, and button presses into a fluid combination of actions, and you feel like a badass moving around the city once you get used to it. And the fighting style in the game consists mainly of melee attacks. You learn more abilities later on that let you dodge enemies and cause them more damage and whatnot. Oh, and I think it's hilarious too. In one scene, Faith makes a comment along the lines of that she's not a killer. Well, look at this.
I'm not an assassin, count me out.
We have that.
I don't know if that's a good thing that I enjoy doing that, but I thought it was hilarious. And as you play through the game, collecting things and completing missions, you get more experience and you can upgrade Faith's abilities and unlock more power-ups that make it easier to move around the city. If you're someone that wants to just grab a controller and immediately be doing all kinds of cool moves in the game instantly, you may be a little disappointed here because, like I said, it takes a little getting used to and a little practice running around the city before the controls feel really fluid. Total, the game took me about 13 hours to beat, but I didn't finish every single thing there is to do. I still have a lot of collectibles, races, and deliveries left that I can do, so you'll definitely spend a good amount of time playing it. My only complaint about the game is the ending cutscene. I just felt like it was a little too brief, and I was hoping for a bigger payoff. The conclusion to the game kind of hits a fast forward button in this last part. It does leave it wide open to create more games in this universe though, and I hope we get them. I had a great time exploring the city in the game, so yes, I do recommend you add this to your collection. There's really no other franchise out there like it.
What are you gonna do next?
I'm gonna run.
Well, thanks for watching, everyone. I appreciate all of you, and I hope you enjoyed that review. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, so you can keep up with all my content. And check out my other videos, too. You can click some right here on this page. This is Fabian from GamerThumbTV. Till next time, guys.